Hi guys, ForceConcentration here, and in the recent week I have not been streaming much because I was working offline. I was actually doing some focus learning and a bit of tutorials about 3D rendering. So whenever I want to go back a bit to rendering and understand more things, I go back to this this series of tutorials on LearnOpenGL.com. It's very famous in the community of, let's say, 3D graphics. Everybody know about this website. It's a one-man job. It's Joe doing this website. The guy is a 3D programmer, and this is where to start basically. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to introduce you quickly what I think about this website and how I'm using it. The first thing I would do each time is to go to code repository here and to download Glitter. Glitter is a small project which will allow you to run all the tutorials from LearnOpenGL with an already existing framework, right? So you don't have to re-download everything and so on. You can just install Glitter and then you can start going through the tutorials. Basically what I think is you have a first chapter here, getting started, and here you really have fundamental aspect of 3D rendering. It starts basically at Halo Triangle example, and then all of this down to the camera chapter. All of these chapters should be absolutely clear for you if you want to start, doing anything in 3D graphics. You should really understand what's going on here, how things work. Even if you understand matrices, that will really be a good start, because this is really just the beginning. You really need to master those fundamentals here. It's a lot about the 3D pipeline. You have a small explanation of the 3D pipeline, but basically there is many ways to see the 3D pipeline. This is another way from Wikipedia. And here you can see, all the steps here is how you convert an object to on-screen rendering. And this should be clear for you, everything which is going on there, if you want to understand 3D rendering. The second big chapter here will be lighting. And again, once you have passed the most fundamental aspect, you should really understand what's going on here. This is basic lighting, this is not advanced lighting, but you have a lot of, you have the beginning of some mathematical calculation with vectors to understand a bit what's going on in shaders. So yeah, again, second step, you should master that. And then you will have, I would say at this step, at the end there, you have some beginner knowledge of good beginner knowledge of 3D graphics. Moving on, you will have this chapter about model loading. I actually never digged into this chapter because I'm just using some libraries to load models and I'm done. If you are a 3D artist, maybe you're a bit more interested, but I don't think there is anything very, very relevant here for the rendering aspect itself. And then you will have the first, let's say, more interesting chapter, which is Advanced OpenGL. So you have like a series of very interesting tutorials. For example, if we go to Cube Maps, for example, you will have this kind of rendering. Where is it? This kind of rendering with reflection and things. So very interesting things here. In those already, it's like, yeah, as the title says, it's like people who have like more than a fancy interest in Advanced OpenGL. And moving on, then you will have a choice between advanced lighting or PBR. Me, I consider it a choice. I actually didn't read much about advanced lighting. I just finished in the last week to look a bit in the last day. I looked through PBR, physical based rendering. This is actually what Unreal Engine is using. At least in Unreal 4, because now they have Lumen. But this is real stuff. Okay, this is, you have some advanced mathematical equations and everything. So here it starts to be higher level, like understanding what really is going on in Unreal. Physical based rendering is obviously used when you use a material in Unreal. So here it's very interesting. If you want to know what's going on under the hood, if you have interest in 3D rendering. And then, because there is always some trolls who say, oh, I know all that already, this is basic stuff. Well, it's not basic stuff. And if you want to go even deeper, you have like guest articles, which are pretty advanced. For example, here you have things about tessellations, compute shaders, which is pretty advanced subject. So there is a bit of everything for everybody. It has been running for years. It's a very famous website. And again, if you want to update your knowledge about 3D rendering, you will learn a lot from this website, and this knowledge can be transferred. And when you are using Unreal, you will understand a bit better why you are doing this or that. For example, when you create a material. Well, that was it for today, and hope you guys enjoy, and see you soon either on stream or in another devlog.